How are the big dogs on Wall Street calculating your rate of return? Now, what they tell you versus what we think are two different things. And I want to show you the super simple example behind me here that will show you how they tell you that you've made 25%, you've averaged 25% year over year, yet in 4 years, you got the same exact amount of money left that you started with. So look at there. Year one, we start with $10,000 and it goes to 20,000. Okay. Year two, that 20,000, you take that over, starts at 20,000 because we made 100% return, right? So year two, let's say we lose 50%. If the market goes down by half, so your 20,000 then goes back to 10,000. All right. Let's say next year we get another 100% gain. So now my 10,000 goes back up to 20,000. And let's say the following year we go down by 50%. So the 20 here goes back down to $10,000. Now the market will say that it averaged 25% per year. And if I think I'm going to make 25% per year, that's what I think. Okay, that's what I think it should. It should go from 10 to 12 and a half, from 12 and a half to 15.6, 15.6 to 19 and a half, 19 and a half to 24, almost $25,000. Okay, that's what I'm thinking if the market goes up 25%. What they sell you, 25% a year. Okay, you started with 10, you ended with 10. They told you made 25% a year. You made zero. And that's what you think you're going to make. So don't get wrapped up in, the past market returns the historical returns have been whatever they think they've been. Have they? Really do the math and think about what it is. If look back at 08 when the stock market lost 40 or 50% of its value. Well, if the stock market loses 50% of its value, if you go from 20,000 down to 10,000, it goes back up. How high does it have to go back? Is it going to go up 100% the next year? I doubt it. Maybe it goes back up. If it goes back up 50%, now that's only half of where you started. So it's going to take years to chip back up to get to where you. I know this example is outrageous, and that's not really going to happen. But the negative 50s sure have happened. There have been a couple negative, 47%, or however you want to look at it. But those negatives really do happen. And if you get a negative 40% downturn, and I know at this point in time, yes, everything has rebounded and come back up. But at some point, it's going to come back down. I don't know how far. I don't know when. Don't take any advice from me, for God's sake. But really think about what are these percentages that Wall Street is throwing out at you. Would you rather do something like this roller coaster here, or I would rather have something like this? And I don't know, there's not a lot of places where, you can get a 25% return. I've invested in things that have gotten better returns than that. I've also lost a lot of money in investments that were projecting returns like that. So you have to be very careful. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. But if there was somewhere where you could put maybe automatically, if you could get maybe like 6% a year, but calculated like that versus like that, is that something maybe you would think about? Maybe if you want to do like a safe harbor type of money, like I cannot lose it, you can put it into a CD or something, but you can always take advantage of what's in there. CDs are kind of locked up. You have to put them away. When they come due, what do you do with it? Do you take it out? Do you put it back into another CD? Do you keep compounding? With the infinite banking concept, you can put that money into a CD-like structure, and that money continues to compound. You can always, whatever's in your CD, like 90% or whatever's in your infinite banking account in the form of cash value, you can usually borrow up to about 90% of that. And you can take that and you can buy an investment then that maybe gets you 25%. You take the returns from a good investment, you repay that loan, and then as soon as you can do it again, you've got enough cash value in there to do it again, do it again. You're making that spread. That's how banks make all their money. You put $10,000 into the bank into a CD that makes what, 4 or 5% maybe, I don't know. And then what do the banks do? They take that 4 or 5% loan and they give it to someone else in the form of a credit card loan, and they charge 30% on it. So the bank is making 30% minus paying you their 5%, but it's not their money in the first place. It's your money. So they're making that huge spread. Plus they can create money out of thin air. And it really is not fair. But if we do what the banks do to some extent, which is what the infinite banking concept is, it's kind of taking, you don't have to go to the bank anymore. Once you get this thing set up and rolling, it takes some time. This is not a get rich quick scheme. It takes time to get this thing rolling and going. But once it's going, you theoretically would never have to go back to the bank again. If you let it go for a couple of decades, you're buying houses. Your kids could borrow money from your cash value. They can make you payments instead of paying all that interest back to the bank. What if you owned the bank? And yes, if you own the bank, I wouldn't go to the bank down the street, even though they're real friendly and they're very nice people, and get loans from them. I would use my own bank. So that's just a different way to think about it. And if this is how we're calculating a 25% return, really think about that. In my mind, that's zero, because I started with 10, I ended with 10 after 4 years, and they're telling me I made 25% a year where I actually made nothing. And they probably took fees out of that anyway. So you're probably, if this scenario really did happen, you're probably left with less than $10,000. So you're negative. All right, good luck.